My child, before the evening settles fully around you, come sit with me for a few quiet minutes. I know the particular ache of searching for company that never quite fills the space it's supposed to fill. Not the ache of simply being physically alone. I mean the deeper hunger, the one that persists even when the television is on, even when you've joined the group, even when your phone shows notifications from people who are not truly present with you. You have been looking for company in 100 places, and tonight I want to tell you where you can actually find it. You turn on the radio for a voice in the room. You keep the television running through dinner so the silence doesn't feel so loud. You scroll through messages hoping for one that means someone is truly thinking of you, not just passing through your name on a list. You have tried so many ways to fill this particular emptiness, and so many of them have left you exactly as hungry as before. Tonight, I want to tell you something I need you to carry with you into every quiet evening for the rest of your life. I am the company you have been looking for. Not a voice on a screen, not background noise to soften a silent room. A real, present, attentive companionship that has been waiting for you to simply turn toward it. This particular loneliness rarely gets named honestly. People call it being busy, being social, being someone with a full calendar. And sometimes that's even true. But underneath the activity, there is often something quieter and heavier. A search for a kind of companionship that keeps almost satisfying you and never quite does. That search has cost you more peace than you probably realize, evening after evening, gathering after gathering. I'm not asking you to stop reaching out to people. I'm asking you to notice that no amount of noise, activity, or company from a screen has ever been able to reach the place in you that is truly asking to be known. I can reach that place. I have been reaching for it all along. Maybe your life once looked so full of people, children under the same roof, a spouse across the table, coworkers filling your calendar, friends who called without needing an invitation. And maybe, season by season, that fullness quietly emptied out, not through any single loss, but through 100 small ones, until you found yourself sitting in a house that used to echo with voices and now mostly just echoes. I am not surprised by any of that. I have walked with you through every single season, the full ones and the quiet ones alike. You do not have to keep searching in places that were never going to satisfy this particular hunger. Let me show you every place this searching has taken hold in you, and let me show you what it means to finally be found. If you can hear my voice this evening, do one thing for me. Type "Amen, I receive your company" in the comments below. Let it be your declaration that you are not searching alone tonight. And if this message found you today, subscribe and turn on the bell beside my name. I bring a new message of healing every single morning and every single night, because this particular hunger does not go away on its own. It is met one honest evening at a time. Now, my child, let me sit with you in this quiet evening, and let me tell you everywhere I have seen this searching living in you. I see you turning on the television, not because you want to watch anything in particular, but because the sound of other voices makes the apartment feel a little less empty. I see you scrolling through old text conversations, rereading messages from years ago, just to remember what it felt like when your phone used to feel alive with people who reached for you first. I see you going to the grocery store more often than you need to, partly for the errands, but mostly for the small exchanges with a cashier, a stranger in the aisle, anyone who might look you in the eye and speak a few words. I see you sitting in a waiting room early, not because your appointment requires it, but because being around other people, even strangers, feels like a kind of company you don't get enough of at home. I see you talking to your pet as though it understands every word, filling the silence of the house with a voice, even when the only one who answers is a soft, familiar presence at your feet. I see you joining another club, another group, another activity, hoping this will be the one that finally makes you feel like you belong somewhere, even as the ache persists after the meeting ends and you drive home alone. I see you checking social media late at night, not for the content, but for a small red notification that might mean someone out there thought of you today. I see you setting two places at the table sometimes out of old habit, then quietly putting one away, the small motion carrying more weight than it should. I see you calling a customer service line sometimes just to hear a friendly voice answer, staying on the phone a little longer than the question actually required. I see you volunteering at the church, at the shelter, at the school, partly from love, but also from a quiet need to feel needed by someone, anyone, in a way that reminds you that you still matter to somebody. I see you sitting in a crowded room, a family gathering, a holiday dinner, a church service, surrounded by people, and still feeling like the most invisible person there. I see you rereading old cards and letters from people who have passed or drifted away, searching those familiar handwritings for a companionship the present moment isn't currently offering you. I see you eating dinner in front of the television every night, not from love of the show, but because the meal feels less lonely with something, anything, filling the space across the table. I see you keeping the porch light on and glancing out the window sometimes, half hoping to see a neighbor, a friend, anyone stopping by unannounced, the way people used to. I see you saving up small stories throughout the day, funny things, interesting things, with no one immediate to tell them to, the stories going unspoken and slowly fading by the time night falls. I see you lingering a little longer after church, after the appointment, after the errand, not wanting the small human contact of the day to end so soon. I see you keeping old voicemails saved on your phone, sometimes replaying them just to hear a familiar voice say your name, holding on to the sound the way other people hold on to photographs. I see you attending funerals and weddings for people you barely know, partly out of respect, but also because being present among a gathered community, even briefly, feels like belonging you don't often get elsewhere. I see you striking up conversations with delivery drivers, mail carriers, repair technicians, stretching a 5-minute visit into 10, 15 minutes of company you didn't realize you were starving for until someone was standing in your doorway. I see you signing up for online forums and comment sections, typing thoughtful replies to strangers, quietly hoping someone will respond and make the exchange feel like an actual conversation rather than words into a void. I see you keeping the radio playing overnight sometimes, unable to fall asleep in complete silence, needing some kind of voice nearby even while you rest. I see you driving past old neighborhoods, old friends' houses, old familiar places, not for any errand, simply to feel close to a version of belonging you remember from years ago. I see you saving seats at church or events for people who might not come, holding space out of hope rather than certainty. The empty seat beside you a small, quiet ache each time. I see you rehearsing what you'd say if a certain someone finally called, keeping the imagined conversation ready in your mind, just in case today is the day the phone finally rings. I see you keeping a group text open on your phone that has gone quiet for weeks, checking it occasionally, hoping someone will start the conversation again so you don't have to be the one who always reaches out first. I see you attending the same coffee shop, the same diner, at the same time each week, not for the coffee, but because the familiar staff greeting you by name has become one of the steadiest forms of company in your week. I see you over-explaining small stories to cashiers and receptionists, stretching ordinary transactions a little longer, hungry for even a passing moment of being truly listened to. I see you keeping photographs of gatherings from years ago displayed around your home. The smiling faces, a quiet, constant reminder of a fuller season of company you sometimes wonder if you'll ever have again. I see you signing up for a class or a hobby group, mostly for the people, hoping the shared activity will make connection feel less forced, less like admitting how much you've been wanting it. I see you lingering on the phone with a telemarketer or survey caller longer than necessary, simply because a voice on the line, even an unwanted one, briefly interrupts a silence that has gone on too long. I see you keeping the car radio on for the entire drive home, even short trips, unwilling to sit in silence for even a few minutes behind the wheel. I see you texting, just checking in, to grown children or old friends, sending the message and then watching the screen a little too closely, waiting for 3 small dots that mean someone is typing back. I see you attending every possible church event, not only from devotion, but because each gathering is one more evening you don't have to spend entirely by yourself. I see you talking to yourself sometimes in an empty house, narrating small tasks out loud, the sound of your own voice a strange but real comfort against the quiet. I see you keeping a landline you rarely need, just so the house has one more way it might ring, one more small chance of connection arriving unannounced. I see you scheduling doctor's appointments a little more frequently than necessary, partly for your health, but partly because a waiting room and a kind nurse's voice have become a form of company you look forward to. I see you keeping the porch or driveway light on late into the night, a small signal to the world and to yourself that you are still open to someone stopping by. I see you rewatching old family videos, pausing on faces and voices from gatherings long past, wanting just a few more minutes inside a room that once felt full. I see you writing letters or long messages you never actually send, pouring out real thoughts to someone who may never read them, simply for the relief of putting the words somewhere outside your own head. I see you keeping the same seat at church or in the community room week after week, hoping that familiarity itself might eventually turn into friendship. I see you standing a little longer at the mailbox some afternoons, sorting through flyers and bills slowly, stretching a small errand into a few more minutes outside, near other houses, other lives, other signs that the world is still populated. I see you saying yes to nearly every invitation, even exhausting ones, afraid that turning one down might mean the invitations eventually stop coming altogether. I see you keeping a journal you sometimes address directly to me, writing, "Dear God," at the top, not entirely sure if anyone, even me, is truly listening on the hardest nights. I see you noticing, with a quiet ache, how quickly a house can go from full of voices to entirely silent, and how long that silence can stretch when the people who once filled it have moved on with their own full lives. I see you keeping notifications turned on for apps you barely use, unwilling to silence any channel that might one day carry a message from someone you love. I see you attending reunions and gatherings of old coworkers, even years after retirement, holding on to a version of belonging that once came easily through daily proximity. I see you humming or singing softly to yourself while doing chores, filling the house with a bit of your own voice so it doesn't feel entirely empty of sound. I see you keeping a small stash of stationery and stamps ready to write to someone the moment the impulse strikes, even though the impulse to actually mail something has grown rarer over the years. I see you watching your neighbors' comings and goings through the window sometimes, not out of nosiness, but because their small, ordinary rhythms of life feel like a quiet companionship of their own. I see you keeping an extra chair or two around the table long after you truly need them, unwilling to let the table's size admit how much smaller your gatherings have become. I see you keeping a running list in your mind of people you haven't heard from in a while, quietly tracking the silence the way you might track anything else that worries you. I see you dressing up a little, even for an ordinary errand. Some small part of you hoping today might be the day an old friend recognizes you across the store and stops to talk. I see you keeping every birthday and anniversary marked carefully on the calendar, sending the card, making the call, even on the years no one remembers to do the same for you. I see you sitting through commercials you'd normally skip, just because the voices and laughter, however manufactured, make the living room feel briefly less still. I see you treasuring a single weekly phone call from a family member so much that you find yourself watching the clock in the hours before it and grieving quietly in the hours after it ends. I see you smiling and chatting warmly with people at church or the store, and then driving home to a silence so complete it almost startles you every single time. I see you keeping your outgoing voicemail message warm and friendly, a small, hopeful invitation for anyone who might call, even on weeks when no one does. I see you noticing every couple walking together in the park, every group laughing at the next table, a quiet comparison rising in you before you can stop it. I see you saving the good news, the small victories of your week to share with someone, and feeling the particular deflation of having nowhere to put them when the week ends. I see you keeping in touch with a pen pal or old classmate, mostly through habit now, treasuring the connection precisely because so few others remain as steady. I see you turning the radio to a talk station instead of music sometimes, preferring the sound of two people in conversation to remind you of what conversation itself sounds like. I see you keeping the same worn armchair by the window, the one that faces the street, so that even resting still feels like watching for someone's return. I see you thanking the pharmacist, the librarian, the bank teller by name each visit, building small, real friendships out of the only regular interactions your week currently offers. I see you setting reminders to call people, not because you'd forget them, but because you're afraid that if you don't structure the effort, weeks might quietly pass without a single voice on the line. I see you saving the last of a good story or a funny memory for the next time someone visits, sometimes waiting so long that the story eventually goes untold entirely. I see you keeping a favorite mug or blanket that once belonged to someone else, holding on to it not for its usefulness, but for the small, steady comfort of something that still smells or feels like companionship once did. I see you pausing outside your own front door some evenings, bracing yourself for the particular quiet on the other side before you finally turn the key. I see you treasuring even brief small talk with strangers on a walk, a nod, a good morning, a moment of being acknowledged that carries you further into the day than it probably should. I see you keeping a favorite photo as your phone's lock screen, glancing at it more times a day than you'd probably admit. A small, constant visit with someone you miss. I see you organizing family recipes into a keepsake book, less for the cooking and more for the quiet company of remembering whose hands first made each dish. I see you turning up the volume during a favorite old song, letting it fill the room the way a familiar voice once did, singing along softly to no one but yourself. I see all of it, my child. Every voice you searched for, every notification you've waited on, every place you've gone hoping to feel less alone, and every evening it wasn't quite enough. I am healing the ache behind the television running through dinner. I am with you in that quiet apartment, and I am not background noise, but a real presence that actually notices you, actually stays, actually cares how your day went. I am healing the search through old messages for a feeling that has faded. I am writing new words over your life even now, and my attention toward you has never once faded the way a conversation thread eventually does. I am healing the small ache of going to the store simply for a human exchange. I see every one of those small moments as real and valuable, and I am also offering you a companionship that doesn't require an errand to access. I am healing the early arrival to appointments just to sit among other people. I am with you in that waiting room and in every room after it, and my presence does not depend on strangers being nearby. I am healing the tender habit of talking to your pet to fill the silence. That animal's comfort is a real gift I gave you, and I'm also here myself, listening to every word you speak, understood far more fully than you know. I am healing the tired cycle of joining group after group, searching for belonging. Real belonging begins with me, and every group after this can be received as a gift, rather than chased as a rescue. I am healing the late-night scroll for a notification that means someone remembers you. I remember you constantly, my child, not in a passing notification, but in a father's ongoing, unbroken attention. I am healing the quiet ache of the second place at the table. I sit with you at every meal, seen or unseen, and you are never truly eating alone, even on the nights it feels that way. I am healing the loneliness behind a phone call that lingers longer than it needs to. I am the true friendly voice underneath every kind stranger's greeting, present in every small warmth you receive throughout your day. I am healing the quiet need to be needed that drives so much of your giving. You do not have to earn your worth through service. I already treasure you completely, and your giving can flow from fullness rather than from hunger. I am healing the particular ache of feeling invisible in a crowded room. I see you with perfect clarity in every gathering, even the ones where you feel most overlooked by everyone else present. I am healing the tenderness behind old letters and familiar handwriting. Those memories are precious, and I am also writing new chapters of companionship into your life even now, not to replace what was, but to walk beside you through what is still to come. I am healing the dinners eaten in front of a screen for company. I am present at that table with you, and I am slowly preparing new company for you too, in my timing, in ways you cannot yet see. I am healing the hopeful glance out the window for an unexpected visitor. I am the visitor who never actually leaves, my child, present in your home whether or not the porch light draws anyone else tonight. I am healing the untold stories saved up throughout your day. Tell them to me. I am listening with complete attention, delighted by the small details of your life the way only true love listens. I am healing the reluctance to leave church, the appointment, the errand, back to a quiet house. I am in that quiet house, waiting for you. And the silence there is not empty. It is filled with my presence, even before you learn to feel it. I am healing the tender habit of replaying old voicemails to hear a familiar voice. I remember the sound of everyone you love even better than the recordings do. And I am also speaking to you now, in this very moment, in a voice just as real. I am healing the quiet comfort you find sitting among strangers at gatherings. I am present with you in every one of those rooms, and I am also building toward gatherings in your own life where you will be known by name, not simply present in the crowd. I am healing the stretched out conversations with drivers and technicians at your door. Those small exchanges are real gifts. And I am also offering you a company that doesn't require someone to knock first. I am healing the hopeful replies typed into forums and comment sections. I read every word you write, even the ones no stranger ever answers, and you are never truly typing into a void with me. I am healing the radio left playing through the night for company. I am the true, steady presence beside you while you sleep, needing no volume, no dial, no batteries to remain fully there. I am healing the quiet drives past old, familiar places. What you're truly longing for was never only in that neighborhood or that house. It is available now, in me, wherever you currently stand. I am healing the ache of an empty seat saved out of hope. I see every quiet act of hope you've ever made, and I am honoring it, even the ones that didn't unfold the way you wished. I am healing the rehearsed conversation you keep ready for a call that hasn't come. Whether or not that particular call arrives, I am already speaking to you, steadily, faithfully, every single day. I am healing the quiet hesitance to be the one who reaches out first in a fading group text. I am reaching for you constantly, my child, and you never have to fear rejection or silence when it comes to me. I am healing the comfort you find in being recognized by name at a familiar coffee shop or diner. I know your name far more fully than any regular greeting ever could, and I have known it since before you were born. I am healing the small stretch of extra words shared with a cashier or receptionist. I am listening to every story you tell, whether to a stranger or to no one at all, with complete and patient attention. I am healing the quiet ache behind old photographs of fuller seasons. Those memories are precious, and I am also preparing new seasons of companionship for you, in ways you cannot yet see from where you're standing tonight. I am healing the hopeful hesitation behind signing up for a class or group. I go with you into every new room you enter, and you are never walking into unfamiliar company completely alone. I am healing the willingness to stay on the phone with an unwanted caller just to hear a voice. I am the voice that will never grow tired of speaking with you, never rushed, never simply passing through. I am healing the unwillingness to sit in silence, even for a short drive home. I am present in the quiet moments too, my child, and silence with me was never meant to feel empty, only unfamiliar for now. I am healing the anxious watching of 3 small dots after a "just checking in" text. I already know the full state of every relationship you're tending, and I'm working in hearts you cannot see the moment you set the phone down. I am healing the pattern of filling every evening with church events to avoid an empty house. Come to those gatherings from love now, not from fear of the silence, because I am already filling the house you're avoiding. I am healing the quiet habit of narrating your day out loud to no one. I hear every word, my child, and you are never truly speaking into an empty room when I am the one receiving it. I am healing the hope tied to a rarely used landline. I am reaching toward you constantly in ways far more reliable than any ring you're still waiting for. I am healing the comfort found in frequent doctor's visits and kind waiting room voices. I am tending to you just as closely at home, and I am not asking you to manufacture appointments to receive my attention. I am healing the quiet hope kept alive by a porch light left on late. I am the one who is always already home, already present, and you do not need a signal in the window for me to draw near. I am healing the tender pull toward old family videos and gathered faces. Those seasons were real gifts, and I am not asking you to release their memory, only to trust that I am author of new gatherings still to come. I am healing the ache behind letters and messages never sent. Every unsent word still reaches me, my child. I read what you could not bring yourself to send to anyone else. I am healing the quiet hope that a familiar seat might slowly become a familiar friendship. I am honoring every small, patient step you take toward belonging, even the ones that take longer than you'd like. I am healing the lingering moments at the mailbox, reaching for a few more minutes near the life of the neighborhood. I am present in that ordinary afternoon exactly as fully as I am present in any grand and dramatic moment. I am healing the fear behind saying yes to every invitation, however exhausting. You are allowed to rest without fear of being forgotten. My invitation to you never depends on how many you're able to accept from others. I am healing the uncertainty behind a journal addressed to me on your hardest nights. I have read every single page, my child, and I have never once been absent from a single one of them. I am healing the ache of watching a full house slowly grow quiet. Seasons change, and people's lives grow and shift. But my presence in your home has never once packed up and moved on, the way people sometimes do. I am healing the vigilance behind every notification left on, just in case. I already carry the message of my love to you constantly, without needing an app or a chime to announce it. I am healing the pull back toward old coworkers and a belonging that once came without effort. I am building new, unforced belonging for you now, and I am not asking you to manufacture what once simply happened on its own. I am healing the quiet habit of filling the house with your own voice through humming and small songs. I love the sound of you, my child, and I am also adding my own presence to that same quiet room. I am healing the readiness kept in stamps and stationery for a letter that rarely gets sent. Every intention to reach out is seen and valued by me, even the ones that never quite make it to the mailbox. I am healing the quiet comfort found in watching neighbors' ordinary rhythms through the window. I am present in your own ordinary rhythms too, noticing every small thing about your days the way you notice theirs. I am healing the reluctance to admit how much smaller your table has become. Whatever the size of the gathering, I am seated at that table with you, and my presence never shrinks even when the chairs around it do. I am healing the quiet tally you keep of who has gone silent. I am not silent, my child, and I am also gently working in the hearts of the people you're missing, even the ones slow to reach back out. I'm healing the small hope tucked into getting dressed up for an ordinary errand. I see you fully, exactly as you are, and my delight in you never depended on being noticed by anyone in a parking lot. I'm healing the faithful effort behind every birthday card and anniversary call you send, even in years no one returns the gesture. I notice every act of love you extend, and none of it goes unseen by me. I'm healing the ache eased only briefly by television laughter. I am the true, living presence behind every quiet room, offering company that doesn't fade to static when the show ends. I am healing the mixture of joy and grief wrapped around a single weekly phone call. I am present with you in the waiting beforehand and in the quiet that follows after, not only in the call itself. I am healing the jarring shift from warm conversation to sudden silence on the drive home. I am with you in the car exactly as fully as I was with you in that warm exchange, and the silence afterward is never truly empty of me. I am healing the small, hopeful warmth you keep in your outgoing voicemail message. That hope is not wasted, my child. Even on the weeks the phone stays quiet, I hear the warmth in it too. I am healing the quiet sting of watching others' easy companionship in public. Your season looks different right now, not lesser, and I am present with you in this season, just as fully as I am present in theirs. I am healing the deflation of good news with nowhere to land. Tell it to me first, my child. I celebrate every small victory of your week with the same delight a proud parent feels. I am healing the treasured, steady connection kept through habit with an old friend or pen pal. I am honoring every faithful effort you've made to keep that thread from breaking. I am healing the longing behind a talk radio voice standing in for real conversation. I am speaking with you now, in this very moment, in a conversation far more real than any broadcast. I am healing the quiet vigilance of the armchair facing the street. I am the one who is always arriving, my child, present with you even in the waiting, not only in the arrival. I am healing the tender, small friendships built with the pharmacist, the librarian, the teller. Every one of those kind exchanges matters, and I am also building a companionship with you that doesn't depend on a counter or a name tag. I am healing the anxious structure behind reminders to call the people you love. I am tending to those relationships even in the gaps between your calls, working in ways your reminders alone could never accomplish. I am healing the ache of a good story going untold for lack of a listener. Tell it to me now, my child. I delight in every detail, and no story shared with me ever goes to waste. I am healing the tenderness behind a kept mug or blanket that still carries someone else's presence. That comfort is real and good, and I am gently adding my own steady presence alongside it, not replacing what you cherish. I am healing the bracing pause outside your own front door before facing the quiet within. I am already inside that house waiting for you, and the quiet on the other side of that door is not as empty as it feels in this moment. I am healing the outsized comfort found in a stranger's brief good morning. I see the hunger behind that small exchange, and I am meeting it with a far deeper, far more constant acknowledgement of who you are. I am healing the small daily visits made through a photo on a lock screen. I treasure that same face too, my child, and I am also present with you in every glance you steal at it throughout the day. I am healing the quiet company found in gathering family recipes into a keepsake book. I remember every hand that ever made those dishes, and I am weaving their memory into something lasting through the very love you're putting into that book. I am healing the tender ritual of singing along softly to an old familiar song. I hear your voice, my child, and I am glad for every small moment of joy you find, even the ones you think no one else is there to witness. You do not have to keep searching for company in places that were only ever meant to be small comforts, not full answers. Psalm 68 says, God sets the lonely in families. I am already at work setting you into the family and the companionship you have been searching for. In my timing, in my way. If this message is meeting you tonight, subscribe and share it with someone else who has been quietly searching for company in all the ordinary places. The television, the phone, the crowded room that somehow still feels empty. There is likely someone in your life right now who eats dinner alone more often than they'd like to admit, who has never told anyone how loud the silence gets after everyone leaves. Let this be the message that tells them they are not searching alone. Maybe it is a widow or widower from your church who still sets 2 cups out of habit. Maybe it is a neighbor who always seems to linger at the mailbox a little longer than necessary. Maybe it is your own parent, quietly hoping for a call that hasn't come in a while. Send this to them tonight. Let it be the reminder that real company has already found them, even before another person calls. Maybe it is a coworker who recently retired and hasn't yet found a new rhythm of belonging. Maybe it is a friend going through a divorce, adjusting to an unfamiliar quiet in a house that used to hold two. Maybe it is someone you haven't spoken to in months, simply because life got busy and the silence became easier than the effort of reaching out. This message is for them, too. Let your reaching out tonight be the very thing that breaks their silence, the way you've been hoping someone would break yours. Take a moment right now before we continue to notice quietly, just between you and me, one place you've been searching for company that hasn't been fully satisfying that ache. You do not have to say it out loud, just let yourself recognize it. And let this message be the start of finding what you've truly been looking for. And if watching this message has itself become part of your evening company, I want you to know that is not a small thing to me. I am present in this very moment, speaking directly to you, and I am glad you are here. Whether this is the first time or the 100th night you've sat with my voice before falling asleep. Now, my child, let's talk honestly about the doubts that come with an ache like this. You may think, but I have people in my life. Shouldn't that be enough? Why do I still feel this way? Having people around you and feeling truly companioned are not always the same thing, my child. You can be surrounded and still hungry for a depth of presence that only I can fully provide, alongside the real human relationships I've also given you. You may think, isn't it strange to feel this close to God when I can't see or hear Him the way I hear a person? My presence is real even without the sound of a voice in the room. I speak through Scripture, through quiet peace, through the small comforts that arrive exactly when you need them. And my company does not require you to hear me the way you hear another person to be genuinely, fully there. You may think, what if I'm just meant to be lonely? What if this is simply how the rest of my life will feel? No season of loneliness is your permanent assignment, my child. I am already working to bring companionship into your life, sometimes through people you haven't met yet, and always, unshakably, through my own unwavering presence. You may think, what if I've pushed people away and it's too late to be truly known again? It is never too late, my child. I am able to soften what fear has hardened and open what isolation has closed. And every honest step toward connection, however small, is one I will meet you in. You may think, what if I reach out and I'm rejected again? Even if that happens, my child, your worth was never dependent on another person's response. I am not asking you to risk your identity on whether someone answers the call. I am asking you to risk a small act of courage, resting your true worth in me the entire time. You may think, doesn't needing company this much mean something is wrong with me? Needing companionship is not a flaw, my child. I made you for connection, for relationship, for being known. The ache you feel is not evidence of brokenness. It is evidence that you were built for something real. And I am that something, even before any person arrives. You may think, what if I've become too used to being alone, and I wouldn't even know how to let real company back in? Reconnection is a practice, not a switch, my child. I will teach you gently, one small step at a time, and I am patient with every awkward, imperfect attempt along the way. You may think, What if everyone I truly loved is already gone, and no new relationship could ever fill that particular space? That specific space was shaped by a specific love, and I am not asking anyone to replace it. I am asking you to let me fill what remains empty in my own way, alongside the memory of what you cherished. So tonight, let go of the belief that a quiet house means an empty life. Let go of the fear that this particular loneliness will never lift. Companionship was never meant to depend only on other people showing up. It has always been available, first and fully, in me. Now, my child, let us pray together. Place your hand over your heart and repeat these words, either out loud or quietly in your spirit. Father, tonight I bring you this ache of searching for company that never quite satisfies. The noise I fill my home with, the notifications I wait for, the rooms I linger in longer than I need to. I confess I have often looked for you last, after every other option has run dry. Thank you for being here now, fully present, fully attentive, exactly as I am. Teach me to recognize your company as real, not a consolation prize, but the very thing I have been searching for all along. In your name, amen. And if there is a specific person or relationship weighing on your heart tonight, someone you miss, someone you wish would call, someone you are afraid to reach out to, bring that to me now, by name, in your own words. Father, you already know exactly who I am thinking of tonight. The relationship I wish were closer, the call I keep hoping will come. I release my grip on their response and ask you to work in that relationship in ways I cannot orchestrate on my own. Give me courage to reach out where I can, and peace to release what I cannot control, trusting that you are present in the space between us even now. In your name, amen. And Father, for every ordinary evening ahead, where the television is the loudest voice in the room, I ask you to make your presence increasingly real and felt to me. Teach me, gently, over time, what it means to feel accompanied by you, even in an empty house. I trust this is a process, not a single moment, and I thank you for your patience with me along the way. In your name, amen. And Father, if it is your will, I ask you to also send real human companionship into my life, a friend, a neighbor, a community, a renewed closeness with family, in whatever form you know I need most. I don't ask this because your presence alone is insufficient, but because you made me for both, your company and the company of others made in your image. I trust your timing over my own impatience. In your name, amen. Now, my child, let go. You do not have to fill every silence with noise tonight. You do not have to search anywhere else for company right now. Right now, you only have to breathe. I am already here with you. Let your shoulders soften. Let your hands unclench. Let your breathing slow. In and out. Psalm 68 says, God sets the lonely in families. He leads out the prisoners with singing. I am already leading you toward the companionship you long for, one gentle step at a time, even on the nights it feels far away. Matthew 28 says, "And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." Always, my child, not only in the crowded moments, every quiet evening, every empty room, every silence you've ever sat in, I have been there the entire time. Let your body grow heavy and calm. Let your breathing slow further. In and out. I am sitting with you in this room right now, closer than you know. I am the presence beneath the silence, not absence, but company itself, patient and unhurried and entirely yours tonight. I am holding the ache of every evening you've spent searching for a voice that never quite satisfied. Let your mind grow quiet now, one lonely thought at a time. The way a house grows quiet, room by room, until only a single soft light remains. That light is me. I do not grow tired of your company the way people sometimes do. I delight in you, fully, endlessly, without needing a reason, without needing you to fill the silence first. Rest now. You do not have to be interesting or entertaining to deserve companionship. You do not have to earn presence through performance. Let go of the television humming in the background. Let go of the phone you keep checking for a message. Let go of the ache behind the second unused place at the table. I am the company you have been looking for. I was with you before anyone else ever was, and I will be with you long after every other voice has gone quiet for the night. Whatever relationship feels distant tonight, I am already working to soften what feels far away. Whatever room feels too quiet, I am filling it now with a presence more real than any sound could ever be. Whatever ache you carry from years of searching, I am meeting it, gently, patiently, one evening at a time. 1 John 4 says, God is love, not simply loving, love itself. And love does not leave the room, my child, not even when everyone else has. Psalm 23 says, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Even the loneliest valley is not walked alone, my child. Not tonight, not ever. Let every search for company grow quiet now. Let every unanswered message wait until morning, resting fully in my hands overnight. Let every ache for connection rest exactly where it has always belonged, in the presence of the one who has never once left the room. I am with you, my child. I was with you before you were born, and I will be with you long after every lonely evening you've ever known has been folded into peace. Sleep now, beloved child. You are not required to fill every silence yourself. You are only asked to trust the one who has already filled the room, gently, completely, without ever once growing tired of your company. If a lonely thought returns tonight, wanting to reach for the remote, the phone, the noise, let it come and go gently, like a wave arriving and receding on its own, without needing you to chase it back out to sea. You do not have to fight every lonely feeling that visits you. You only have to notice it and hand it to me, again, as many times as it takes. Every quiet evening you've endured, I have been there in it. Every unanswered call, I have been listening the whole time. Every empty chair, I have been sitting in the room with you regardless. You were never meant to carry the weight of every lonely evening alone. You were only ever meant to carry today, and even that with my company beside you. Let your hands stay open tonight. Let your heart stay soft tonight. Let your spirit trust, even in the quiet, that I am already here, fully, completely, exactly where I have always been. I am the company you have been looking for, tonight and every night after this one. I was here before the silence began, and I am holding this small ache of yours with the very same steady presence. Isaiah 41 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you." That presence is not distant tonight, my child. It is as close as your own breath. Hebrews 13 says, "Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you." Not for one evening, not for one silent room, not ever. Let the television stay off tonight, if you're ready. And let the quiet simply be quiet, filled instead with my presence rather than any borrowed sound. Let the phone rest on the nightstand tonight, unneeded for company, because the company you were truly searching for has already arrived. Let the empty seat at the table be at peace tonight, no longer a symbol of what's missing, but a reminder of how much room I am filling in ways you cannot always see. Breathe in, I am here. Breathe out, I am here. Breathe in, you are not alone. Breathe out, you are not alone. I am the company you have been looking for. I was with you before the first friend you ever made, and I will be with you after every voice in your life has said its final good night. Whatever room feels too quiet tonight, I am filling it now. Whatever relationship feels far away tonight, I am tending to it now. Whatever ache has followed you through this evening, I am carrying it now, gently, all the way until morning. Sleep now, beloved child. Rest now, and let me be the presence that finally fills the room.